In this video, I'll show you how to use the Krippendorff alpha to check the inter-rater reliability of your nominal dichotomous data. I use a Windows PC and SPSS. In my first example, I have 5 observers who are analyzing 19 videos with students. And in these videos, the students show their knowledge and skills in testing situations. These 5 observers are subjective judges, and they have one question to answer. Given the student's performance in this video, does he or she pass? Yes or no? And I call this variable pass-fail decision. Yes is coded with the digit 1 and no is coded with a 2. One thing that makes the Krippendorff alpha special is that you can use this statistical test with any number of judges, and you can also have missing data. I call this variable pass-fail decision, and as a researcher I want to estimate the reliability of this variable. In other words, to what extent are the collected data reliable? In this video, I'll compute the Krippendorff alpha reliability estimate for subjective judgments made at the nominal level of measurement. But keep in mind that you can use the Krippendorff method for any level of measurement. In fact, you can use this method with nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio data. It doesn't matter. Now, this measure, the Krippendorff alpha, goes up to 1, and an alpha of 1 indicates perfect reliability, and that's most often what we want. An alpha of 0 indicates the absence of reliability, and that's something that we most often try to avoid. In social science, an alpha value over 0.8 is good. It indicates a strong inter-rater reliability in your data. An alpha value below 0.8 but above 0.67 indicates low reliability, and its usability depends on the context. You could use this in a report, but you need to explain to your readers why you got such low reliability. An alpha value below 0.67 indicates a really low inter-rater reliability. Perhaps something went wrong when the observers did their coding. Did they perhaps receive bad instructions before the observations? Today, at the time of this recording, this statistical test is not included inside SPSS. So we need to download a so-called macro, which is free and easy to do. A macro is just a name for a small add-on script in the form of a small file. And this file is entitled kalpha.sps. Search for and download the kalpha macro. Personally, I use the keywords download, macro, kalpha and SPSS to find it on the internet. I don't know exactly what you will find. Sometimes you will find the actual file, which is called kalpha.sps, and sometimes you will find a compressed zipped file entitled kalpha.zip. Regardless, just download it to your personal computer. If it's the uncompressed file, the kalpha.sps file, you need to leave it as it is. Just save it somewhere on your computer. And if it's the zip file, which is a compressed folder, you must extract it. Right-click on it and extract. Do remember where you save it on your computer, because you will need it later. Fire up SPSS and open a blank, empty page. Click File, Open, Syntax. Search your computer, select and open the file kalpha.sps. This is the so-called macro. As you can see, it's just a script. Don't change anything, just leave it as it is. However, you need to execute this macro, and you do that by clicking on Run and select All. A window will pop up and it's normal. It's just a confirmation that everything is okay. In fact, you can close it and you can also close the macro script if you want. You see, the macro is active and waiting in the background now. It's waiting for you to perform the statistical test. It is automatically terminated when you exit and close SPSS. For that reason, you must perform these steps each time you restart SPSS whenever you want to use this macro in the future. If you haven't done it yet, now it's time to open your data and make sure that it's correct. For example, that it's numerical and that it's nominal. In this example, my variable is pass-fail decision with nominal dichotomous data. I want to estimate the reliability of this variable and determine to what extent my data are reliable. In other words, I'm hoping for a high alpha over 0.8, which will indicate a strong inter-rater reliability. Finally, it's time to run the statistical test. Normally in SPSS you just click on the menu to start the test, but we can't do that here. You need to manually execute the test. Click New, Syntax, and type in kalpha judges equals obs1, obs2, obs3, obs4, and obs5. Slash level equal 1. And this digit, it indicates the data level. 1 stands for nominal or dichotomous data. 2 is ordinal, 3 is interval, and 4 is ratio. Type in slash detail equals 0, slash boot equals 10,000. I know it's a lot of information to take in, but trust me, you're gonna learn this. Just hang in there. Now you need to execute it by clicking on Run and All. And this is the actual statistical test. As you can see, it says running matrix in the lower corner. It takes some time before ta-da! Here we have the results. And in this particular example, the Krippendorff alpha is 0.7831. It's not above 0.8, but it's fairly okay. Further, this table provides estimates regarding the population. And in this example, given my data, there is a 9.08% chance that the alpha would be below 0.7 if the whole population would be tested. The error number 34 message is a well-known Windows system message, and frankly, I choose to ignore it. If you receive this error message, make sure that you know what you're doing before you ignore it. Talk to someone who knows about PC computers and Windows error messages. And here's an example of how I would write my text. Feel free to pause the video here if you want to read it more in detail. And that's the best reference for this test. Here's another example. We have two teachers, Albert and Harald, and they were asked to assess the performance of 6 pupils and to indicate with either yes or no whether the pupil had passed or failed the assignment. As you can see, Albert passed the first, third and fourth pupil. And here I used the digit 1 to indicate yes and 2 to indicate no. Harald passed pupils number 2, 3 and 4. Click on File, New and Syntax. Type in kalpha judges equals Albert Harald slash level 1 slash detail equal 0 slash boot 10,000. Execute by clicking on Run and selecting All. And in this example, the Krippendorff alpha reliability estimate is 0.3889. As you remember, we want this alpha to be as close to 1.0 as possible. but here it's not that high. In fact, it's really bad. The table tells us that there's a 91.53% chance that the alpha would be below 0.7 if the whole population would be tested. It's a low alpha, and it tells me that the two teachers were not in agreement with each other. Whether or not this is good or bad and what to investigate, it's not within the scope of this video. The differences could be because they didn't receive detailed instructions, for example, or simply because the rating criteria were bad. I don't know. In this video, I've just focused on the execution of the statistical test, the Krippendorff Alpha Inter-Rater Reliability Test for nominal dichotomous data. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and/or subscribe if you liked the video. Hopefully, we'll meet again in my next video. Bye bye.